here at 8% in Dallas, Texas. Conference of a lifetime. I'm so excited to be here. Shout out to the syndicate. We're living it up in the suite up here, making connections.
You guys have got to be here if you're not here. Next year, get a ticket.
If you're not at 8% and you're an agent, you're missing out. This is my first event. It's life-changing.
I would recommend anyone that's ever thinking about getting into the insurance industry to step into the room, to get around like-minded people, because this will change your life.
I am sitting up in the syndicate suite. I have met some of the most incredible people in the industry, and just the growth that I've made from last year to this year is 1,000%.
You wouldn't care what people think about you. You would do whatever it takes to start breathing. Are your goals like that?
What's up, guys? My name is Tony Merwin. I am co-creator of the Insurance Syndicate Facebook group. It is the fastest growing professional group on Facebook for insurance agents. Networking with guys like you to help you elevate your business, and we want you to come join the group.
I'm in the syndicate suite right now with a bunch of badass ballers, people that are doing big things in the industry, great connections. You guys got to get in the room. You don't know what you're missing.
It has been such a cool experience. The people, the atmosphere, what we've learned, and I think just the ability to network in ways that I've never seen a group be able to kind of experience and work with people.
Love the Insurance Syndicate. Love Joe and Tony. If you're not in it, you should be.
A lot of people say, oh, there is no secrets, there's no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts, but there are secrets. And so, you definitely are missing out and slowing yourself down if you're not at events.
We're here at the Insurance Syndicate suite, where we get to network with people and have a blast.
We're having a blast up here. If you're not here or planning on coming next year, I don't know what you're doing.
The power of events is amazing. You know, it's really helped me grow as a person. You have to be out here, guys.
8% Golf Nation, what are you doing? Why are you not out with the best of the best, hanging out with the top producers, learning the skills of this game, trying to figure out how do I take my business to the next level without scoring the real big bucks?
Cody Haskins here with Adam and Alex, and we are here at the 8% Nation Golf Tournament.
We do this because we want to help you. But are you ready to receive the help? Shake some hands, smile, and again, create those relationships, and not just create them, foster them, and we'll see you guys next year at 8% Nation. All right?
Man, really encourage you guys to come to this event. It's always been life-changing for us.
There's a saying that says you're the sum of the 5 nearest people that you hang out with. Hang out with 5 guys that are going somewhere in life, you're the next one. So surround yourself with great people in this business, and that's why I love events.
Now we're in a room with like-minded people, so let's meet some like-minded people. You're gonna find somebody you don't know, and you're gonna shake their hand. We're gonna help each other level up our businesses. 3, 2, 1.
Boom!
Whoa.
What is up, man? How about that intro, huh?
How freaking sick is that, dude? So hot. Let's go. Good morning.
Our boy James Johnson put that together for us, for everybody that was at the 8% Nation Syndicate Suite event, right? We had like 30, 35 people hanging out in the suite up in the balcony overlooking the whole event. It was absolute fire. We had a golf tournament we got to play in. We had a private party at a 4,400 square foot, 4-story Airbnb that we rented. private chef, everything
Sick.
that you wanted. And we're going to do it again next year. So if you didn't get to join us at 8% Nation this year in the Syndicate Suite, get excited because we are doing it again. And we are working out a deal with Cody to try to get the bigger suite, which means we can have more people. So
Let's go.
stay tuned for that because that'll get announced probably here in the next couple of months, I would think.
Yeah. Hanky goes, anyone got any brick walls your boy can run through? Dude, I'm the same way, dude. That freaking video, that's definitely got to be my weekly win is getting that final edit. And again, shout out to James Johnson. Shout out to our guy JR Wood, who is the Syndicate apparel guy. Obviously, you can see Tony's rocking them, I'm rocking them, and you guys saw the made members all within the suite. So such a good time. And really real quick before I get into a weekly win, I have a weekly word of encouragement. I don't know, maybe we make this something, but it kind of goes into really, again, what we're trying to create, the culture. And I think obviously 8% kind of supports that and everything that we're trying to achieve here in the insurance syndicate. But it's in this hardened market. A lot of you guys know I talk to tons of agents. It's literally like half my job is just getting on phone and having shop talk. And man, I've been hearing a lot of agents just going through some serious burnout, man. And so my word of encouragement, I was in the office early this morning, was watching some Les Brown actually, right? And it was like, you got to be hungry, right? And, my word of encouragement is hang in there. If you're feeling the burnout, what we're trying to create here in the syndicate, yet you have the resources, the people to reach out to if you need to talk through some stuff, but just hang in there, and I think just because it's a hard market or because there's a lot of changes, and this applies to PNC, life, Medicare, all that good stuff. And I know Medicare, y'all are getting ready. And if you waited till the last minute, you're probably super stressed because you're getting ready for AP, which is like next week or something like that, I'm pretty sure. Guys, just stick in there, right? And hang in there. This industry changes lives. And don't get me wrong, we have a high fail rate, but what we're trying to create here in the insurance syndicate is that you do make that top 8%, if not the top 1%. So that's my word of encouragement, man. I hope you, even if it's just one person that hears that, they resonate with that. And hang in, right? Let's get through 2023 because 2024 is right around the corner. We got a new year ahead of us. So that is my weekly word of encouragement. For my weekly win, I don't know, man. I got quite a few weekly wins. it was softball last night, so I played pretty well at softball. So I'll take that. We ended up winning like 18-3 or something like that. So it was
18-3. What are you playing, toddlers?
Not, and actually they were like one of the better teams too. So we're number one in the league. But I would say my weekly win is, obviously you guys know that we announced the merger a few weeks ago. Gosh, if that's not probably been a month now, I swear it's just been crazy busy. But my weekly win is the fruits of the labor are starting to produce right now. They're not actually they're not even close to picking time. But you're starting to see the fruits of the labor. And maybe that's part of the word of encouragement, right? Is when you put the work in, and it's been craziness. Don't get me wrong. I'm having so much fun in the chaos, though. I don't know if I'm just weird, but I've been having a blast, just learning all kinds of new stuff. But it has been pretty chaotic, but it's been amazing. And so the fruits of the labor are starting to show, and pretty soon they'll be ripe for picking, and then we're off to the races. So that's probably my weekly win, is just kind of starting to feel the structure and the strategic partnerships and everything really starting to mold and come together and take this thing to another level. So that's my weekly word of encouragement and weekly win. Mr. Merwin, what you got for him, my man?
Yeah, man, when you talk about chaos, I know what you're saying, because I feel thrust into chaos quite a bit myself. There's a lot of projects we have going on within Avila that we're pushing, but AAP is shaping up to be hot. And as far as weekly wins go, it's definitely the golf tournament that we threw down on Monday.
Some of you guys I totally missed that too. Yeah, that was definitely a weekly win for me.
A couple of years ago, I joined what was NAHU, National Association of Health Underwriters, and then they changed their name to NABIP, which is a mouthful. It's the National Association of Benefits and Insurance Professionals. Great group. If you're out there in the health insurance space, I highly, highly recommend you go join your local chapter. Great people in the groups that are out there in the NABIP association. One of the things I love about it, outside of just the networking aspects of it and getting to, hang out with some different people in the industry, is truly some of the other little details that they do, I guess you could say. Like, they run CE credits for you. So instead of logging in online, you can actually go to a live class, hang out and have fun and do CE credits.
I got CE for that golf tournament.
No, you didn't get it for the golf tournament. But for example, recently we did our ethics CE, which is a 3-hour class. We all had to go sit live, but they took us to a nice restaurant. We got great food and wine, and we played Jeopardy with the topic of insurance ethics. Made it a lot more fun. Got to have a couple of drinks while you're there, network and hang out with some of your buddies, and then get your credits. So little things like that are fun, and they have all kinds of great events. I signed up and am now the chair of the golf committee. So I run their golf tournament every year. And we do an annual golf tournament where we raise money not only for NAPEP, but we also have a charity, a local charity here in Austin called the Sims Foundation that we raise money for, which makes it super special, especially understanding that what the Sims Foundation does. They are a nonprofit that helps local artists and musicians with mental health counseling, basically, right? So depression counseling, substance abuse counseling, anything like that, which we know is unfortunately rampant in those industries. So they pitch in and help for that. So we were able to get a live musician. We had my buddy Guy Forsyth come out. If you're in the Austin area, you might know who Guy Forsyth is. He's one of the most famous local Austin blues musicians. Used to have the standing gig at Antone's here in Austin, the Austin's home of the blues. He's open for Ray Charles, all kinds of people. Like, the dude is phenomenal. And I was able to get him to go sit in the corner with his guitar and entertain us while we were all having lunch after the tournament. But the tournament was just a huge success. Last year we had 17 teams. This year we had 21 teams. We raised more money, had more fun, just overall had a blast. I didn't win the tournament. I actually came in 6th. Joe beat me by 1 stroke. We shot a
my team did. Let's be honest.
Joe's team shot a
team
61. But the event just went off with a bang. It was awesome. Super fun and just went off with a bang. So I got a lot of kudos for it and was very appreciative of all the support. So that's definitely my weekly win. I love being able to run that event. Can't wait to do it next year.
I love it, man. Yep. It was a great time. Thank you so much for putting it on and allowing us obviously to sponsor that, especially on hole 1. So we got some good content, some good press. I've got some videos I'm editing and going to have that out too. So shout out to you, man. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody, you could tell everybody was having a blast. So real quick, guys, before we bring on our guest, who is a good friend of mine. Well, I guess he was a peer and an agent friend of mine before he actually became a good friend of mine. And before we bring him on, real quick, you guys see Lily. Lily is our producer of the podcast shows that we put on here. Make sure to go check out the YouTube channel as well as our TikTok and Instagram. Lily has taken initiative and got those other platforms up and running. Please go give us a like, a follow, a subscribe. Would love to have the support over on those side of things, as well as obviously everything that we're doing here in the group. So with that being said, again, guys, we've got an awesome show. It was a last minute call, and that's why I freaking love the dude, is I can literally hit him up last minute and he'll always show up. He's got an amazing story. And so without further ado, everybody, let's give a nice warm welcome to my buddy, Shaun Pillai. What's up, brother?
Boom.
What up, guys? How are y'all?
Doing fantastic, man. How are you?
It's Wednesday, baby. We in here. We win. You know.
Hanky, there's the brick wall you can run through, bro.
Hey, there it is. There it is.
I love
Knock
it,
it down.
Yep. Well, hey,
thank you for
welcome
joining
to the show.
us, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Thank you and welcome in. And if you could just take a few seconds here, just kind of tell everybody who is Shaun, kind of what all you got going, and then we'll kind of get into it.
Yeah. I'm Shaun. I'm in Memphis, repping the 901 every day. Got my St. Jude shirt on. We always represent the babies. But no, man, I'm a dad. I've got 2 girls. I'm a girl dad, just like you, Joe. Man, love them. And it's cool, just listening to you guys, and I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, man, been in the insurance industry for about 5 years now. Have always been kind of in a sales, account management type role. Always loving to connect with people, always loving to network. So that's just me. I definitely get that from my dad. So that dude talks to a brick wall. Like, that dude will talk to anybody and anybody. Like, and he'll invite you over to his house. I love that passion that he has for people, and it's definitely been passed down on to me. So it's really cool. But yeah, man, that's kind of me in a nutshell. Excited to be on the show.
What you got for a weekly win for us,
dude?
Anything.
So it's kind of twofold. Well, I was just going to name one, but then you guys talking about encouragement and then just hanging on through like tough times and burnout. It was a really, really sweet moment this morning. I was dropping off Sarah, my oldest girl, and she was like, "Dad, kindergarten is like really, really fun." And I was like, "Really?" Because I'm pretty sure somebody said that they were very scared and that they didn't want to go to kindergarten and they didn't think that they could do it. And they didn't think that they were going to be good at it. And so she was like, yeah, I was scared, but you know what? Like, I got in the classroom, I met all my friends, my teacher is great. So I think that just takes it down to like a basic level of, man, we can be scared. We can be, looking at, whatever obstacle is in our way at that moment and be terrified about it. But I think personally, a lot of my best moments in life and in growth have been pushing through that hard and scary time. And it's definitely been like me for this past year, dealing with a lot of like personal stuff going on, business stuff going on. And so now I'm in that good part of life, if you will, because, there's always peaks and valleys, but peaks don't look great unless you're in a valley and going through it, right? We don't have a perspective, because if it's all if it's all peaks, then we're just like, okay, cool, like whatever, it's just another peak. So it's weird to say I'm thankful for valleys, but I'm thankful for valleys, man, because it just makes you thankful for that better time. But yeah, man, it was cool to hear her just kind of like think through that and be like, you know what, like it was hard, but I was able to get through it. So it was cool. Then my big win for the week, and I kind of mentioned to you, Joe, is I sold my PNC book of business, man. Like,
let's go.
Yep. So I normally, have been through the PNC side, doing that home auto commercials type stuff. But now I'm in a pivot of doing life and health. So I've got a cool, view on the next however many years we're doing this, wherever the next pivot is, or if we're going into something else. But man, I'm excited. Like, it's exciting to start something new. Like, I felt pretty good about being in PNC, but really, really excited about this life and health sector of life. So I might be hitting you up, Tony. We'll see. Get the Merlinator up there.
Congrats on the book sale, man.
Thanks, man. It's exciting. It's fun to.
It's not as easy as it seems either, right? You're just like, wow, I did not know there's this many moving pieces to this.
Right. Absolutely. I'm just like, cool. And it's going to be a transition for at least a good 6 months.
Right.
And then of course, just helping them transition for the year, just making sure all clients.
I assume there's got to be some like nervous anxiety in there.
A little bit.
And making that big of a switch, just completely switching product line. Now, I shouldn't say you didn't cold switch. You've been practicing and working in L&H for a while, building up to this moment.
Yes.
Right.
So wanted to make sure, I initially kind of dipped my toe in the water last year with life, kind of see what it was all about, and kind of pulled back because I was like, I don't really know if I can do this. But it's going back to, again, like, it's almost that, you have a plan A, plan B type stuff, like, pull the plan B out, man. Like, fucking get rid of it. We don't need that plan B, because if we're just looking at it, then it's like, it's okay if I fail the plan A. Like, just go 100% plan A, and go that route. So, yeah. So the past probably 4 or 5 months now, have been doing the live sector, and I've really, really enjoyed it. Because I've been doing live dials. I haven't been doing like cold dials. So getting live transfers in. And loving
shout out Chase. You can shout out Chase on this show.
Cool. Yeah. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's a preferred vendor, but man, Chase McAllister over at Unreal has been awesome. That team is awesome. The program is awesome. And it's really cool to just have, like, instead of buying a list of cold leads and possibly getting like bad numbers or whatever, like, it is an actual person that I'm getting to talk to, and getting up every morning knowing I'm going to make at least like 5-6 presentations a day is also comforting as well, right? Because you can go into the live space, you're like, hope I get some appointments, hope I get some presentations today. But it's kind of almost 100% guarantee at this point. So
absolutely. What are you doing? Final expense, mortgage protection, a little bit of both?
Yep, final expense for the most part, and then we'll see if we get into the mortgage protection and all that kind of stuff. So,
right on, man.
I love it. So a little highlight on that, guys. So Chase McAllister, again, he runs the Unreal Syndicate. It's live transfers. So basically, it's you set your hours, and then you have a set weekly cost, and then you're just getting phone calls. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely check him out. Obviously, Shaun's. I've seen the numbers because Shaun's in my group chats. Him and a few of our other agents are all doing it, and they're throwing up some pretty sick weekly numbers. So kudos to you, man, too, because I know obviously it's completely different. It's like, man, and now I got to spend over $1,000 a week to hopefully this thing pans out, right? So I love that, and I wanted to go back real quick, because you're talking about just the the peaks and the valleys, right? And I think, you like the valley because ultimately, in my opinion, your test becomes your testimony, right? Where it's like that is what really builds people, man. Like if you can go through that, you can go through the dirt and the mud and all the shit to get to the peak, man. It makes it, again, it makes you that much more grateful for it. But it builds you along the freaking way, man.
Yeah.
So I love that, dude. Well, great intro, man. I'm off to a hot start and I'm loving it. Take us back, Shaun. What was let's hear some storyline here before you got into insurance. I know you've obviously had a few other kind of endeavors or industries that you worked in and have found success that ultimately again led you to insurance. Take us back though, because you said I feel like I get a lot of that from my dad, right? The passion for people. So take us back, like even like what was even like your first job, and kind of step us through that.
Yeah. 5 years old, bagging groceries, man. We had a grocery store growing up in a small town in Mississippi. And so I have been working since I was 5. Like it's definitely that, like some kids were getting allowances and stuff just for being a kid. My dad gave me you got a roof over your head and you got food on your plate talk. So I've worked for everything that I've gotten so far. And so it's instilled a work ethic. And I've been like, can I make my kids start working like at some place? Like just get like a family friend and be like, hey,
there's too many cameras and shit everywhere now. You'll get caught. Child labor laws.
Right. It's like, why is this kid at the cash register? He's only like 7 years old. Like, what's going on? But no, man. So I've been doing that. Worked about 3-4 jobs in college. Like I'm one of those that I'm going to make it work regardless. So it doesn't matter really what I'm doing. Like, I'm going to be excellent at whatever it is, like whether it's a dishwasher, a bagging groceries, being in sales, like whatever, like put 110% into it and go from there. So yeah, man, just, did Joe's jobs in college, worked for Apple right out of college. That was definitely an interesting experience to do sales for them.
Talk a little bit about that Apple, because I know you've shared some of that with us here at Redwood, just that training and that process of kind of how they do things.
Yeah.
Is that retail sales or
retail?
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not smart enough to be working in California, man. I'll tell you that. But Apple was definitely a good jump off point in terms of dealing with some really interesting people. Like I know life insurance, like you guys do door knocking and all that kind of stuff. And they've seen some crazy stuff. But Apple, man, it's a different breed. There's so much entitlement like coming through the door. Where it's just like, okay, let me have some patience. Like, let me make sure that the sales go. And it's just like, well, I'm going to go to whatever, and I'm never coming back to Apple. I'm going to get a Samsung. I'm like, this company has more money than the government. Like, it doesn't really give a shit if you buy a phone or not. But no, man, it's really cool because I love knowing every aspect of what I'm selling. And so that has really helped me in leadership positions because I was training people at Apple pretty quickly on. Like, dude, it's the most pretentious sales titles that they have. So specialist is the in the door, and then when you move up, you're an expert, and it's just like, oh, let me get an expert, and I'm like, please don't call me that in public. Like, don't.
I've been here 3 months longer than the specialist.
literally. So. Dude, it's funny too because Apple will drop some stuff, as you know. Like it's in the works, but sometimes there was literally a product drop, and the shit would be sitting like right behind us in boxes, and it's like, oh, I need like a hot 10 minutes to learn about this product and then go sell it like right in here. So it's crazy that they do stuff, but it's one of those like fast-paced moving companies where they'll just drop stuff every now and then, and you got to know about it. Right. And I got to a point where it was cool too, because again, just having responsibilities, learning everything that I could, like all the carrier reps, I would be their main point of contact because I was just like making sure, because that's one thing that I hate doing is like telling people incorrect information. So it's like, let me make sure I tell you everything about your phone plan. Let me tell you everything about your life insurance plan so that you don't get misinformation and just be like, oh yeah, well, I get unlimited this. And it's like, if you go to Canada, like you're not getting unlimited anything. Like, don't think that you can go anywhere. So it's stuff like that I just want to make sure. And that kind of translates through anything that I've done.
Right.
Get correct information. Because misinformation can be dangerous.
Yeah.
Especially in what we do, for sure.
Especially on our side now, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
That E&O can get hit pretty quick when it comes to some misinformation, especially when it comes to the life insurance side and just the impact. Absolutely, man. So what was next? Well, actually, what'd you go to school for? I can't remember if I actually know this.
Yeah, so it's really it's really funny. So I went into risk management as my major, mostly because my dad had rental houses, and he was like, "You become an insurance agent, and then you could do all the insurance for my houses." And I was like, I guess, like, I don't know really what I want to do. Dude, I hate school so much. Like, social aspect, yes, love it. But like tests, papers, all that crap, like, absolutely hate it. So I was just like, I need to get in, do something, get it done. First class I took of risk management, I remember the example to this day. Teacher goes, so if somebody has a pool, and they've tried to cover it, they've tried to lock it, somebody jumps your fence, drowns in the pool, who is held liable for that? Or that as the person that drowned or you? And everybody's like, oh, the person who they broke into your house, like they broke into, and he was like, no, you're liable. That's your property. And I was just like, what? Like, this sounds like some skeezy shit, man. Like, I do not want to do insurance if this is what I have to deal with on a daily basis. And so I literally changed my major to finance, like probably 3 weeks later. Because I was like, I will never be in insurance. I will never do something that's just like, you know, oh, you have insurance and you're covered, but not really in this scenario, you know, and it comes back to navigating coverages and making sure people understand, like, these are the things that are covered. These are the things that are, so it's the whole full coverage adage, right? It's just like, please stop saying that. That's not a thing.
But so I think the lesson learned there is if you have a pool and you go out of town, drain the pool. That way, when they do dive in, at least you've captured the criminals because now they can't get out of the pool.
Right. Or they've busted their head and now they're bleeding in your pool. So, you know.
Oh, yeah, right. There's probably 1,000 scenarios here.
Right, exactly.
Turns out my dog's outside and it bit them, and that's what caused them to fall into the pool. And ridiculousness. It's so funny how full circle that is. So, okay, so finance, straight into Apple, right? And I think, you know, you talked about having the responsibilities, and I think having that at a younger age, or at least right out of college, because I know who I was coming out of college. Like, I needed to have responsibilities. Otherwise, I don't know where Joe would be right now.
Right.
And granted, I did it a different way. You know, I was 19 when I started. But I think that is important, right? And just having it's the responsibilities, but then you said, and I think this also translates and applies to a lot of what we do, especially if you are sitting in a leadership role, is, hey, I've got a specialist that's counting on me because I'm an expert, right? Remove the title. It's that accountability piece, right? Is when you're, you know, building a team, or you're coaching somebody or training somebody or whatever that might look like. It's that accountability piece where it's, hey, I've got my responsibilities, but I also have people counting on me to perform, like you said, in a manner of excellence. So, all right. So then take us, what was next after Apple?
So it was Nissan. It was kind of a weird, like, I did the night shift. I will never do the night shift again. I will literally work at McDonald's or something else if I don't, like, I can't. It was the central control room of the Nissan plant in Jackson, Mississippi. So we literally had to make sure, like, everything was running smoothly. So we had to manage all of this stuff. Because if the production line stopped, so every 10 seconds, it was a loss of like $1.2 million. Like, and so people would just be running in there if things stopped, and we're just like, okay, we're managing it. Like, it's fine, whatever. Then moved to Memphis, back to Apple for a little bit because I'd gotten married, and I was like, I need a freaking job, and nobody was getting back with me. I literally walked in there, so I was like, I was an expert in Mississippi. Can I get a job real quick? They're like, yeah, I was an expert. Literally, dude, I know, but they know the lingo, right? So I was just like, this is what I was back in this store. Like, I need a job.
He's an expert. He's an expert.
Right. Oh my God. What? So yeah, man, did that. And then did account management for St. Jude, just getting people to, do donations and different businesses and stuff like that. So built business relationships there. And so that was really cool. There was a lot of traveling. And so actually got over to a third party transportation. So that's where a little bit of trucking knowledge comes in for me. So CH Robinson was a company. It was, I literally asked them point blank. I was like, trucking to me sounds like 24/7. Will I be having to do stuff in the middle of the night? I have a newborn child. Like, I'm not doing that. No, yeah, we have a night team. No, they're going to do it for you. It's fine. Here I am calling truckers at 2, 3 in the morning because my ass is getting chewed out at 6 a.m. because a truck didn't get to a Walmart stop. And now they're being charged for whatever. And I'm like, dude, no. And that is where insurance came in, because I was talking to one of my friends and he was like, dude, do you want to try insurance? And I was like, I said I would never do insurance. Like, I don't want to do, and he was like,
the picture of the pool comes back and you're like, no,
no, please. Right. Yeah. And it was commission up to this point. I had a salary my whole entire life. So that risk too, because I'm super risk averse, right? I don't like playing with money. I want to make sure that I have money for a rainy day. I've got kids now. Like, I can't just be like, hope I get a paycheck.
Right.
And so negotiated it to where, I did have a little bit of a base and then commission, but kind of quickly realized it was an independent agency, but quickly realized like the way I wanted to run things or like do that, I was just like, there's gotta be a better way to incorporate technology or do just different things. Right. And dude, that's where I got connected with you. And so it was really, really cool to be able to like have those conversations, and what was supposed to be a 15, 30-minute conversation turned into hour and a half.
Yeah. Sorry for whoever had calls booked after that one.
Right,
I definitely did not show up.
That's fine. It's like 3 years ago, whatever. Nobody knows. But yeah, man, and it's always cool to meet people, and it's pretty easy. I think we're both kind of like that, where we can kind of see if people are good or not, if you will, just have that good vibe to them. So it was pretty easy to tell like this would be a good partner to have. And as young as you were, man, but even that, like, that's 3 years ago, right? You were what, 24,
25, 26.
Yeah. Like, I was like, this dude's running an agency, has all these other agents as well. And I'm like, he's obviously doing something right. And so it was really cool to just join the Redwood group and just kind of
launch it. And here we are. Dude, I got a question for you, because I think it can go both ways, right? And obviously in the different we'll call them positions or industries, whatever, that obviously led you up into insurance, you've dealt with a lot of different types of people, right? You talked about Apple, you talked about, late night truckers. I mean, that's a whole different demographic compared to somebody who's walking into an Apple store, right? And so I think some people, when dealing with that many types of people, that sometimes it'll actually turn them off to where it's like, I don't really, mess with people that much anymore, right? Because people are just assholes, or people are this, or whatever that is.
Right.
And you started the call with, man, I have this passion for people. And so this is, honestly, it's an agent facing, but it's also a client facing question that, obviously we talk with a lot of different types of freaking people, especially when you're selling final expense as well. You're going to talk to a lot of different people, right?
Yes.
How do you maintain that passion for people, right? Even when it's like, man, this person could be an asshole, or this person could make my entire day, right? Where does that come from? Where it's like, no matter who I'm talking with, I still will always have this, we'll call it a positive passion for others. Where does that come from?
Man, at the end of the day, like, everybody is going through something. Like, you don't know what that person is going through. So whether they're like being shitty to you, and it's honestly kind of fun when you get like this grumpy gills type of person at the front end, and then at the end of the call, you're like best friends, right?
Right.
You're like, I feel like everybody inherently has good in them. So it's like making sure that I'm focusing on that instead of like, this person's being an asshole. Like, they're being an asshole because something probably happened to them. So like dig deeper, and not just at a surface level, like, I gotta sell this policy, I gotta, do this and do that. But but treat each other. It goes back to the golden rule, right? Treat each other how you want to be treated. And so I think it comes back to that. I had a great a vision for how to treat people through my dad, right? I mentioned that earlier. Dude will literally meet you. Like, he even met you today. He'd be like, cool, you're coming to my house for dinner. Not will you come to my house, or let's make a plan for, he's like, you're going to come to my house for dinner.
Hard closer.
Next Sunday.
Right.
Hard closer.
He is. But I love that about him. Like, as goofy as he is, and if you think I'm loud when I talk, dude is like 10 times me, always. I'm like, Dad, we're in a restaurant and the volume is like this. And you're just like, hey, can I get a filet mignon? I'm like, dude, calm down. They're going to hear you. But he's so funny, man. So he, you know, and he's dealt with a lot of stuff too. Like, he's dealt with people in the grocery store, right? Like, either perfect example. Person buys some egg, you know, buys all their groceries, has some eggs or whatever, goes outside, drops their bag, right? Eggs, of course, shatter. They come in and they're like, I just dropped all my eggs. Like, I need to get some more eggs. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I just want them like for free. I don't want to buy anymore. And he's like, okay, that's fine. And 10-year-old me is like, you're the idiot that dropped your eggs. Like, why are you asking for free eggs? You know what I mean? And I asked him, I was like, why did you just give him free eggs? He's like, Shaun, you have to look at the bigger picture, right? Because that's the small thing of like, it's a few eggs, right? It's $1 or something. He's like, that person spends at least $300 to $500 a month with me.
Right.
So it's that, like, you know, not looking at that person in that moment of time, but what is the bigger picture of what is this person going through? Who is this person as a person, not just a sales, not just.
Well, those free eggs just got him an egg customer for their entire rest of their life, right? I mean, I know it's an egg, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I love
Have you
that,
seen
man.
the
And
price
so
of eggs lately?
Well, yeah, true, right?
That's a great
maybe it'd
customer
be a
now.
little different.
Hey,
He's still running that store.
Yeah, I know, right? No, he sold it. It's so funny. He, you know, I mentioned he does rental houses and stuff, and like, I feel like he's busier now than he was when he had a business, or like he's retired now. But I'm like, dude, you were busier now than you were in the past. Yeah. So.
Right.
So
So talk about how you funneled this, you know, the experiences, the specialist and the expertness in you, right, and really the passionate or the passion for people. How have you been able to really funnel that into Vivid, right? Obviously, that's Vivid Insurance, and kind of just talk about maybe some agency standards, or even just things that you do in your business that make it known that this is Shaun, right, and this is what we represent.
Yeah.
What are some things that you've implemented there?
Yeah, man, on the PNC side, I feel like it's when I had that PNC side, it's literally been 2 days, so I'm just sitting there. But man, on the PNC side, for the PNC people, you know, for auto stuff, I was a hard, like, we're doing that 300,000 coverage on autos, period. Because one, I want to lay my head down at night knowing that person is essentially covered as well as they can. Obviously, they can go up, and I would love everybody to be at higher levels. But at the bare minimum, because so much stuff is expensive, litigation is so expensive nowadays. Like, that's the smallest amount that we're going to write. Because obviously, it's really easy to say, you know, person calls in, they're like, I just want cheapest coverage. Cheapest coverage is going to be the shittiest coverage, right? And so, man, talking about E&O, right? We're going back to E&O. That's an E&O nightmare waiting to happen, right? Like, because most of the time you're not going to make them sign something that says you chose the crappiest coverage, so therefore you're getting the best price. So that's something that happened. But those are kind of the standards where, again, it goes to educating your client, making sure that you're doing right by, because would you put your family member in a policy like that?
Right.
No, absolutely not. So
Well,
why
depends
would
on
you
the family
do it?
member.
Do what?
Depends on the family member. I got a couple I might consider.
I mean, I mean,
they're not watching this show.
Right? I'm like, sounds like Merwin needs to go to some therapy and work that out, man. But anyway. But yeah, man, it's you wouldn't do it to a family member, so why would you do it to somebody just to make a quick buck, right? And it goes back to people who are struggling. I get it. I get you are struggling, but do the right thing when it is hard, because that will come back tenfold later on. Like it takes one client to have a bad accident or something to happen where you're like, you can breathe a sigh of relief when that claim comes in, and you're like, damn, like I'm so glad that I added all those extra things, took the time to say, hey, yeah, this might be a little more, but if this ever happens, you and your family are good. So it's those kind of standards in the agency where, you know, there were definitely a lot of sales that I missed out on that I could have written a shitty policy and gotten that little bit of premium, but at what cost in the long run? Just that as a basic, I feel like for anybody, especially if you're starting out, that is something that you need to hear again and again and again. Like before you hit submit on that policy and that you've done a low coverage policy, stop and think like, is this really what we need to do for this person?
Ooh, so talk about that. Yeah, so I want to dig in that. Do you remember a scenario where at post sale, like claim issue or service issue comes back and you're like, man, I'm so glad that I did that for them and really pushed them to make that decision because I felt like it was the right thing for them.
Yeah.
And now they're happy because I did it too.
Yeah. So it was a house and I put like the backup water damage and all that kind of stuff. Like I make sure that is a service line coverage because I've either had it happen to myself or I've seen it in enough customers where I'm like, this obviously happens a shit ton. So why wouldn't I put it on here? And it's honestly maybe $30 more, $50 more for the year, not for a month. And it's saving them thousands of dollars. I had to come out of pocket because I had a State Farm agent that didn't put it on there, come out of pocket $9,000 because a water line popped in my front yard. And for that to be dug up, for that to be replaced, for the ground to be put back, that shit is not cheap.
No.
And it was maybe
definitely not any cheaper now either, man.
No, it's way more expensive now. And it was maybe this much like pipe. That's it. Pause. Anyway, so I was like, I remember that so heavily that, you know, people would be like, what's this coverage? And I'm like, trust me, if your stuff ever messes up and a water line bursts in your front yard, you are going to want this because guess who you're going to yell at if that's not on there? And it could have been a coverage.
Right.
This guy.
Well, and that's, guys, facts tell, stories sell, right? You guys heard what he just did there, right? So when you're trying to have these conversations, and that's, I think a lot of people, maybe it hasn't happened to an agent yet, so therefore they don't feel as though they have a story to tell. Exactly what Shaun just said. Actually, a good agent friend of mine had exactly this happen. And this is, I mean, so just when you have those, again, we'll call them testimonials, right? Or those in those reviews, I mean, they're so powerful when it comes to a claim scenario or to prevent one, right? Or even maybe to provide that coverage because you know the probability of it happening is it's likely, right? Yeah. Use the stories, right? And so that's, I wanted to go back a little bit too. You talked about for a new agent, like these are the standards, right? Mm-hmm. What is one thing you wish you had known as a what you know now, obviously, versus when you were a new agent? What is one or two things that, man, if I freaking wish I'd just known these couple things, right? That kind of changed things, maybe elevated your business, maybe it was something, you know, mindset wise, business related, whatever.
Yeah. Man, I would say be super detail oriented. Like that is one thing that I struggled with, and sometimes still do struggle with because I'll just get busy and not make notes. And so when it comes down to details, like, man, that can save you so much in the future because you can go back and you can pull up a message, you can pull up an email, you can pull up notes in your CRM if you've got, which everybody should have a CRM. That's not an if you should, it's a you should. Because that's just asking for trouble if you don't. But man, being more detail oriented, because there was a time where I could have sworn up and down that this person had emailed me that they wanted to remove a vehicle or something like that. And it didn't get done. And then it was on their policy for another like 4 or 5 months. Right.
Right.
And so it's stuff like that where it can seem like a small thing, but to somebody, if it happened to you, you'd be pissed. Right.
Right.
So man, be as detail oriented as you can. Like, yes, it might take a little bit more time to finish up whatever you're doing or go on to the next sale. But it is going to help in the long run. If you want note-taking practices, hit up Joe, because I know his stuff is like ridiculously detail-oriented.
Crispy. You know, it's funny you say that, man. That's something that I'm actually really I'm having to really come back to and really harken on my guys, because that's the hardest part, I think, too, right? Is especially when you're building or growing a team. Yeah. It's easy because I'm always like, this is what Joe did, right? And man, guys, y'all go look at my freaking in my CRM. I mean, that shit, I had years of notes for people, man. And again, now granted, that's probably because of how many concussions I've had, and I can't really remember. It's funny though, some of the people that I freaking remember, where it's like, I didn't even sell them, right? But I still freaking remember I still remember his name to this day, right? Like, it's so crazy to me. But the notes and the detail orientation, it goes back to even the story with your dad. It's you're thinking of the now, and you're trying to move on to that next call or that next sale. So therefore the notes don't get done. And then I guess what? After 10 calls, you're not going to go back and document all that. You're just going to move on, right? And once you get into that cycle, it'll just keep happening. It'll keep happening. I closed one of my largest accounts, right? Because of the notes. Now, but how long did it take me to get there? But I had everything I needed to reference. And it's Mike and Nedra Jones, man. That's my guy. And he literally, once I closed him, he's like, hey, man, and I'm from Richmond, man. Like, you ever need anything I'm from Richmond. And I said, that's my guy, right? Right. It took me years to finally close. And you guys hear me say it all the time. Insurance is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right? Eventually, Mike and Nedra are going to need me, right? And having all of those notes, all of those vehicles, all the prices, here's where he was at, even the last 6 months when I talked to him, right? That's so good, man, because I think a lot of people miss that. And again, when you get busy, which that's why I'm having to really circle back. Thank the Lord I have Hanky, because he harks on my people. Hey, make sure there's freaking notes in here, right? But even though, like, I need to get really back on that. Don't get me wrong, we're there, but man, we could always be better with it. And I'm sure that probably applies to you more than anybody, Tony, just because of what you guys do.
Especially for us in a lot of ways, because we're talking to people that are turning 65 and they're going through a transition process, and not everybody retires at 65. Some of them wait till 68 to leave their job and get on Medicare. So as a matter of fact, Grace just posted in her Spanish group very similar thing like what you guys are talking about, where she had notes on a guy. He was still working. She helped him get enrolled in a part of Medicare, but he wasn't ready to retire, wanted to keep his group insurance, wasn't ready to go full Medicare. But every 3 months, she picked up the phone and checked in on him. And that's what notes, that's the really good part about notes, is notes, not only do they create accountability, right? When something comes up, you can go back to the notes and go, no, right here. But they also provide you with the fuel or the ammo that you need to follow up well. If you don't have any notes and you just have a file and you're like, well, I remember talking to that dude like 6 months ago. Maybe he's ready today, but you don't remember any of the situation of why you didn't close him 6 months ago. Like, you're still going to be the same buffoon today. So notes are super important. Details matter. I stress this on Grace a lot. And I love my boy Cody Askins. When he says details delay, he means it in a completely different perspective than when we talk about details matter. But when it comes to writing business, details matter, right? All those little details matter. You want to make sure that you have every little detail covered for your client, their situation, so that you can later follow up. So that's what she did with this guy's. Every time she called him and checked in on him 3 months, she would add a little bit to her notes. Hey, he's not quite ready yet. He's got this going on, this going on. She called him a few months later, and then boom, yesterday she calls him. He's like, yeah, I'm ready. Rolls him, gets him set up, boom, makes a sale.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more apparent in life, dealing with older clients too. Like they are it's so funny. I think it's been like 4 or 5 that I've closed that I've had to follow up back on, that I'll just, reference grandbaby names or whatever. And they're like, you just remember all that? I love that you remember all that. And they eat it up, man.
My memory's a steel trap.
Right, yeah, literally. I'm like,
You're so good, I call it CRM.
That's and it's just, you know, it's that personal touch. Everybody loves that. And so it's one of those where, man, it can help keep a client, it can help make a new client. It's all of the above. So man, take notes all day long. Yeah. For
Details, sure. Man. I love it. Let's take the last few minutes here. Obviously, it's a big move for you, right? I mean, you're totally shifting, and obviously you've been exposed, I think, to that's a big thing, guys. You know, Shaun has been a PNC guy. Hell, he was in a risk management class for a second, right? But I guess you had the finance piece from college that probably has driven you a little bit more to this side of things as well.
Yeah.
But exposure, right? Where it's like you can go from, I'm running a successful property and casualty operation. I've, you know, ran my own business you're coming up just on 3 years, right? Or you just passed your 3-year mark.
Yeah.
And it's like, and now, you know, I was able to successfully sell that for a lump sum and now go full in on freaking life and health insurance. A lot of that's from exposure, right? Obviously implementation and taking action now. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. Yeah. What's kind of the next move for you, man? It's totally right. It's a new kind of space to be all in this one space, right? Obviously now you're, as of 48 hours ago, you're kind of hands free. So I'm sure that's got to be a lot of stress off the shoulders, right? Just okay. I'm trying to go all in over here, but I can't yet, right? Because I still got to take care of my clients. What's kind of, I guess, on the horizon, but really what's next for you? What are you trying to accomplish, you know, on this life insurance side? Is it, I want to build a team? Is it, I just want to run a solo shop? What is it?
Yeah. I think for the next good, 6 months to a year, and I want to push myself and get it done in 6 months, but man, it goes back to being that, just knowing as much as I can, and then exposing myself to actually being on the front lines so that I can build a team. Because I don't want to be that person that's like, oh yeah, come and sell life insurance. Like it's super easy and you can do it. Everybody can do it. But until you're in the shit with everybody, I don't want to hear from you. Don't tell me anything. Unless you were literally taking calls. A great example is Pete, right? Pete is literally making dials all the time.
Leads from the front, dude.
Absolutely from the front. And so that's what I think about when I think of, when I build a team, not if. Because obviously I don't want to just keep selling. I'm going to keep selling, but I want to build a team. I want to see people grow. I want to see them build a team, and then be able to be cool. This is what we're doing now, right? We're building that, and I also want to get I never want to stop learning. So yeah, final expense is great right now, but what does IULs or what do annuities? What do really helping people with their finances look like? Because I do love that financial piece, man. I love seeing people understanding their budgets, seeing where they can make more money, but then also helping others with that money, right? So it's we're making all this money because we're doing annuities and all this kind of stuff, but those type of people also help people, and so it's just a great full circle moment for me. So most of the time, again, trying to look at the inherent good in people, right? So yeah, man, that's kind of the vision that I've had. Just sitting on
how many agents do you want to have? I'm curious to hear this, because I always thought, I'm like, man, I want to have 1,000 agents. I was like, shit, I'm good, man. I kind of like where we're at about right now. 50 to 100 is a sweet spot, man.
I know.
Where do you foresee yourself with that,
dude? I numbers are great, but I also want to have just almost a small group knit of just fucking killers, right? Just are smashing business left and right. It's great that we're writing small policies if I had 200, 300 agents. But there's a lot of logistical moving pieces when you get that big too, right? And so have a small group knit, maybe 25, 50 agents, have somebody that can be that operational person. They're taking care of that. Because again, I can't take care of fucking 50 people by myself. That's just asking for trouble. Because then I can't, focus on what I need to focus on.
Right.
So yeah, man,
it's a full-time job. Trust me.
I'm sure it is, man.
It's a job. It's my
Between you,
job.
right? I was about to say, between you and Pops doing all that stuff, I'm like,
craziness.
Hats off to you. Thanks for writing my commission
Well,
check.
I love that you said that though. Right. But why have 500 or 1,000 when you can find 50 to 100 that can do what 500 or 1,000 can? And I think, a lot of that, and you've known my logistical shit on the life insurance side, man. It's tough, especially when you have remote downline agents, right?
Yes.
Where it's like, you don't know what they're writing, when they're whatever. I mean, it's definitely, it was a new beast for me, and I'm still trying to I'm not good at it. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out. And that's, again, it's kind of I'm being pulled in a lot of directions. So it's like, that's what I was talking with John. John's like, dude, if you're not checking this shit daily, man, I would put everybody as paid as earned, right? Like, you need to be on this every single day, not weekly, not every other week, right? Or not waiting for those statements to come in and hopefully they're positive, right? Like, I mean, it's craziness. And, but I think it also comes down to doing your due diligence when bringing somebody on, right? And really explaining an opportunity. I think when I first started on that life side, it was, hey man, it's like, hey, I've got great comps, but here's the thing. I told people, look, I'm not, like, I suck at this, right? Like, and I'm not the life guy. Don't get me wrong. I've sold some policies, but like, here is really explaining the opportunity that, hey, I'm going to get you good cash, right? But like, all the training and everything is going to be going through like Yoda or through somebody like maybe yourself or Chase, right? To where I think that's okay, but still not, like, depending on how you're really trying to build, right? But it is really doing your due diligence instead of, hey, I'm about to throw a couple hundred people at this wall and see who sticks. And you're talking about Pete, right? He's gone through that where, hey, we had some killers, right? And then got rolled up all that debt, right? And that can definitely happen. And I've experienced that definitely a few times as well. So I guess, man, here in closing, kind of give a shout out to just kind of what you're doing. I know obviously you've been, talking with Chase on the Unreal side, and just, I know Travis was like, yeah, he was just on you were running a call over there the other day. Kind of share a little bit about that, kind of what you got going over there, and then ultimately how people can reach out if they want to talk to you about life, about Unreal, anything like that.
For sure. Yeah, man. Like I kind of said with Unreal, like it's live transfers. So I love that. Like it's a good. Obviously, I don't know if I would do it if you're fresh in life. I did it because I had the capital. I had a little bit of knowledge of life, so I wasn't just like super, like I didn't just get licensed, if you will.
Right.
And so I would, if you've been doing life for a little bit, that's when I would check it out, because it's definitely an investment. I try not to call it a cost. Like, I'm investing in my business, so I'm putting this dollar towards that. So it's also really helped me, and I don't know if other people struggle with this, but it's like, I first initially be like, oh shoot, like I'm spending all this money every week. But then on the other side, I have to pivot and say, if I can, at the bare minimum, sell 2 policies, I have then covered my cost. The rest of it is gravy, right? Like, that's when I'm making my money. And so trying to look at it in that perspective, because Pete and my dad, I was trying to explain to my dad, he's like, why are you selling your PNC again? And like, why are you? And I was like, it kind of depends on how you want to make your money, right? Like, if you sell $1,000 home policy, you're getting about 100, 150 rip on it. For a life policy, you might be getting $1,100 or $1,200 a rip. So depending on, where your comps are, kind of thing. So and I would have to have that PNC person for 10 years to make the same amount of money for that one policy for life. So again, you got to be continuously writing life, because it's obviously not a renewal type thing like that. But it's, that's what, but anyways, so yeah, with Unreal, live transfers have been awesome. That what's cool is they have 2 weekly trainings. They've now actually split us kind of into teams, so now we're like kind of competing with each other. Friendly competition, obviously, right? We're the best, but it's fine. But yeah, man. So it's cool. Like, everybody's really, really helpful. It kind of reminds me a lot about Redwood, where you can put into the chat and say, hey, I've got this person, they've got this issue, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. and somebody's there, a coach or somebody that's been doing life for a long time could just be like, boom, here's what you probably need to look at and do that. So that's what's been really helpful for me too. Because again, I've only been doing it for 4 months. I'm by no means an expert.
You're a specialist still,
but
right?
I'm a lowly specialist, man. So I want to get to that point where I can be like, hey, oh, you got congestive heart failure, you got cancer, you got this, blah, 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 and just rattle it off, right? Just like I could with PNC, I can rattle it off. I want to get to that point with life. So, if anybody wants to reach out, my number is 601-988-4494, or look me up on Facebook. You see my name right here. So shout me out there and we'll get connected, man.
Sweet. Love it. I was real curious before we just shut it down. Are you using anything like insurance toolkits to help you with underwriting and putting all that together? Okay.
Yes. So using that, that's been pretty good to use for sure. Sometimes it's I'm still kind of learning, like while I'm on the phone, being able to do that at the same time. Cause I'm definitely like, I'm trying to take notes. I'm trying to do insurance toolkits. I'm trying to talk on the phone and be an active listener. So I've got my training wheels on, if you will, and I'm just like, I'm learning. We're going.
We're still riding though. We're still riding.
We're still riding. That's right.
Right on.
I love it, dude.
Yes, sir.
This has been great. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
As always, it's good to see you even virtually. Look forward to seeing you hopefully in Austin soon. Come down here and hang out with us and visit us.
Is that next month we were talking? Is that next month or November? What was it? He's coming for a game, for a tailgate and stuff.
November. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right on. So we'll definitely catch up then. Well, man, thank you again for coming out. You guys heard it, right? Catch up with them if you want to chat with them about life insurance or anything good or what it's like to sell a PNC book. Shaun Pillai is the man out in Memphis, Tennessee. So thank you guys as always for tuning in to Winning on Wednesday. We're here every Wednesday for your viewing pleasure. We do it live at 9 a.m. right out of Austin, Texas at Syndicate headquarters. And as Lily opened up the show, we push all this out to YouTube. We push it out to Instagram. We push it out to TikTok. Go over there and follow us over there. Give us some likes. Give us some subscribes. Give us a little support. We'd appreciate it. And as always, today is the peak of the week, which means it's not the day to slow down. It's the day to put the throttle down and finish your week hard, because that's what we're going to do here at Syndicate headquarters and all around. And until next week, we'll see you.
Absolutely. And I want to close out on this because I think this story is powerful, man. And maybe, who knows, Lily, we might just want to title this on YouTube with the eggs, because I think that story of the eggs, right, is, hey, sometimes if you take a second and bend down and help somebody pick up their broken eggs, you might gain a relationship for your entire life, right? Whether that's a client, whether that's a friend, whatever that is, because somebody might just be going through something and they need some help picking up a couple broken eggs, right, to change their day. So thank you for sharing that, Shaun. Again, thank you for being on here, guys. Hey, and the word of encouragement, right? Hang in there. Let's finish out the week strong. Let's finish out 2023 strong. And we'll see you guys next week. We appreciate you guys. Later.
See ya.